This is how to tie the dirty jig. This is the same sequence you would use for tying this fly no matter what the dressing was. You would just substitute the materials in the pattern list. I've slipped a tungsten slotted bead onto my hook. This is a size 1/8 inch on a size 10 hook. And I'm starting to build an underbody with Uni-Stretch, which builds a nice, smooth, clean, tapered underbody and also locks that bead into place. You can unspin it and keep forming a taper. Now I'm going to switch over to my thread. Here I'm just using a simple tan Vivas thread. 12/0. 12/0 works well. And the feathers I will be using is this Brahma hen, badger, tan for the tailing and for the hackle. And I'll just pull a section of this Brahma hen off, measure out the length, transfer my fingers, and affix that to the very top of the hook. That tail should be the body length. With that tail affixed, I'll rotate around, and I'm going to tie on tan D-rib on the underneath side. Get that secured nice and firm. For this I'm doing tan, which is going to be the tan spring stone. Follow your recipe for dirty olive, dirty golden, dirty black, SOS, whatever. I'm going to start dubbing the body, starting at the rear with a nice fine taper. Adjust that dubbing loop. Build a nice, keep going with that taper shape that we've already started. And that's about all we need there. 7 turns of ribbing. Round side up. Tight. Seven. Locking, crossing thread wraps. Make sure that's really secure. I'm going to take a dubbing brush and I'm really just going to rough up this body and get a nice soft halo-y effect. Again, this is the same thing on all of this whole series. I'm going to select from my Brahma hen cape a hackle that's going to be the right size, giving me hackle proportionate to the fly, which means the length of the barbs are just about body length. If I straighten that out, you can see body length. I'm going to tie this in by the tip, separate the tip out like that. I'm going to give 3 turns. I'm going to take that tip point, fold it back over, 3 turns on top of that, and I'm going to cut that tip away. That feather is now locked in place. Take the end of your scissor and just slightly score along one side of that feather. We're not cutting that off, but what we're doing is we're scoring that, so that way the feather has a bias and it's easy to fold that hackle all off onto one side. I'm going to take 3 turns of this folded hackle, grooming everything backwards as I turn. I can rotate if I want. And I'm going to tie that off. 2 to 3 wraps. You don't want a lot, but you don't want too little. Trim away the butt end, groom everything back, and just give yourself a nice few thread wraps. For the collar, I'm using my Dark Spike blend. This is Dark Spike blend. It's an equal portion of black rabbit and squirrel body hair. I used to do this in a dubbing loop. It took way too long until I figured out if I can just take a wad of that and place it on the top and kind of manipulate that so it wraps around. Take a soft wrap thread, complete turn, and then pull tight. It's just like spinning deer hair, stacking deer hair. But now we're stacking dubbing. Look for any weak areas. Pull everything back. Form a little thread collar. Cement on the thread, not too much. 3-4 wraps while the thread is still wet with cement. Do a 3 or 4 wrap whip finish. Manipulate that thread so it cinches down and binds within. Snip away. And groom. And that's how to tie the dirty jig.